Okay, in this tutorial we're going to use Blender for our first time, and you can go ahead and here's the program. It's called Blender. When you open it up, it will start up like this. You can just simply click here, and it starts you off with a cube. Sometimes you might remove the cube, but for this Steve model, we're going to model Minecraft Steve, and we're going to go ahead and get started with that cube. So what we're going to want to do is take a look. We're going to figure out how to view it right from the front view, and we're also going to want to use what we're going to switch from front perspective to front ortho, and what that allows us to do is see this grid. And so we're going to go ahead and switch into edit mode. Now there's a lot of shortcuts that eventually I'll start pushing, and I won't go to each menu window first. You could just use shortcuts and work a lot faster. You're going to go ahead and want to switch to face, and we're going to go ahead, and if you click with the right click, you can select different faces here with the right click, and you can then move these in or out. And I've looked it up, and I found out that the Steve is he is set up in 8x8 an 8x8 ratio. So we're going to go ahead and move this in so that from the center point we go 8 across and 8 up and down. And what you want to do is go back to object mode, select the object, and then go ahead and make sure we hit snap and selection to grid just to ensure that it's selected to the grid. Now we're going to look from the top view, and you'll see that his head is too long, so we've got to go back to edit mode, select here. We're going to move this into 1, 2, 3, 4, and if I do 4 from the center, from the bottom and the top, then I'm holding control, by the way, to make sure it snaps to these little points, to each grid line. Go back to object mode, select the entire object, and go object, snap, selection to grid. Okay, now let's go back into view front again. And what we're going to actually do is let's go back into solid mode. So you can see here's the head. And I could look around, I'm holding the wheel, I'm pushing that down, and I can move around. Let's go back to view, front view again. And I'm going to have this selected. I'm going to object duplicate. Now normally I'd just push Shift D. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and set this underneath there. And I know that I need to right away go object snap to grid to move it up there. Okay, so let's go to edit mode. And I know the body for Steve is, he's 12 segments tall. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need to move him down 4 more, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the grid. And his body is, if I go from view, top view, we need to narrow his body. So we're going to take it in because I know that when I looked up his dimensions, he is 4 units this way. And go back to the front view, front, and he's 8 by 4 by 4. Okay, so now we can go back into object mode and solid mode, and we have his head, we have his body, and we are going to duplicate the body. So we're going to go ahead and say where is duplicate object, Shift D, and we're going to create one of his arms. Object snap to grid, object Shift S, selection to grid, and go back into edit mode. Go ahead and go wireframe again, and we are going to move this in by 4. So he needs to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the size of the arm. And let's take a look at top view, view, top. Okay, we got it right. So view, back to the front again. And we are going to go back into object mode, and I'm going to simply duplicate this for his other arm and his object and for his legs. Duplicate objects. We're going to move that here, and we're going to go snap to grid, object snap, selection to grid, and we are going to go object duplicate object again, and we're going to set his leg there and go object, snap, selection to grid. And we are going to have this one selected, and I'm going to go object, duplicate objects again, and let's snap that to grid. Object, snap to grid. Now what you want to do is you want to hold shift and select the arms, the head, the legs, and then the body last. And we're going to go object, join, and it will lock everything together. And there is your Steve for now. Okay, we're going to skin it in the next tutorial, so we'll give him some coloring, and but now we've got the shape, and then we'll rig him later so we could actually animate him. Okay, so have fun with that. Let me go ahead and pause this.